What's good, fellas? Welcome back to another video. I titled this video How to Be a Seductive Man. Now, before we get into this video, I'm going to make eminently clear and I'm going to articulate myself very succinctly so that people can, have a high probability of interpreting what I'm saying. Now, obviously, people interpret things based off of how they see the world. And when you put yourself out there publicly, the information that you put out is open to criticism. So regardless of what I say based off of my intention, people are always going to interpret it based off of their perception. That being said, though, I am going to verbally articulate these things right now. When I make these videos, it's not for you to manipulate anybody or any woman. I'm not a jaded man. I'm not a hurt man. I'm not a womanizer. I'm not a player. I'm not a misogynist. That being said, I titled this How to Be a Seductive Man. I got some key points right here on my phone just because I want to make sure that I give you guys, every key point that I'm going to touch upon. Obviously, these are based off of my experiences. I don't pride myself on being with many women. I've said that before. I actually think it's quite repulsive at times. I think it's disgusting, the things that I had to go through in order to really learn myself better as a man. I'm not ashamed of my past. It just is what it is. I've experienced a good bit of women. That being said, man, let's get started with the video. How to be a seductive man. What I've come to find out in my interpersonal interactions with women is that in order to have a seductive vibe, the first thing is you guys have to calm down. You have to calm down. You have to, de-stimulate yourself. I know you guys are watching a lot of porn, a lot of things that you shouldn't be. You have to relax. And so the first thing is tonality and also how you speak. You have to start to speak calm like this, poised. Take your time to speak. Perhaps lower your tonality a little bit. You see, a woman is very receptive and is always screening for your tonality, how you're speaking. So when you start to talk really fast like this, it can be off-putting at times. And so women already deal with a lot of creeps on a daily basis, guys that are trying to just, all types of stuff. So you have to slow down. And when you slow down, perhaps you take your time, perhaps you're out at a beautiful setting with a woman. The ambiance is just right. You're taking your time, you're speaking. What I like to use oftentimes is the pause. The woman is conveying something to me. You don't have to respond quickly. She says something to me. I take a deep breath. I process what she's saying, actually listening to her, actually present, not thinking about her tits, not thinking about, damn, she's bad, she got the DSF. No, actually listen. And this is actually something that we learn in sales as well. When you're poised, you're taking your time to speak, people are hanging on to your every word. So as I'm having an encounter with this woman, let's say we're having a date night, she's talking, I'm listening, processing, responding back to her calmly, poised, taking my time to speak because I mean what I say as a man. I mean the word that I'm saying. I'm not just gibbering, right? And I'm listening to her. And what this does is when you show a woman that you're calm and you're not hanging on the outcome of sex or the outcome of anything, she's able to relax. And the more she's able to relax, the more receptive she becomes to you, and you're able to have a beautiful masculine-feminine interaction. And so the first thing, guys, to become seductive is you gotta slow down. You gotta stop speeding, saying so many things, trying to impress her, reciting the lines that you thought about about the date as you were driving to the date. That comes off as inauthentic, and a woman can sense that. You see, women are very emotionally intelligent. And so she's going to be able to sense if you're faking it, if there's something off, if there's something that's just not congruent, she's going to be able to pinpoint. And the more you spend time with her, she's just going to chisel away at you, chink at you, and she's going to figure it out, and she's going to break you down if you're not authentic. So this is why you guys always hear me say you have to be authentic, right? Take your time, be poised, and as you become more authentic, you'll be able to be calm. Do you know why? Because rest assured, you are who you say you are. You're not one of these guys that's just putting on the front out here, consuming all this content and using this. Oh, You feel me? You're not just regurgitating things that you hear on the internet. Rather, you're having an authentic experience with another human being in front of you. And so as you're having that authentic experience, you're calm, receptive, she's receptive. Now you can enjoy this wonderful dance between you and the feminine, right? And so that's the first thing that I've noticed on how to become more seductive is take your time, relax. There's no rush. There's no outcome that, you're relying on. Because a woman can sense when you're eager to just get the box, when you're eager to just, pounce on her. That energy is scary and it's off-putting. That's the first thing. Secondly, let them speak more than you. You see, in any interaction, when I'm talking to somebody, I let them speak more than me. Now, if I'm on a date with a girl, especially if it's the first couple of dates, I always let her speak more than me. Why is this? Because people love to speak about themselves. And the more that she speaks about herself, she's giving you a whole bunch of information on her that could even potentially disqualify her during the vetting process. If you haven't seen my vetting video, go check that out. And so I do this with gentlemen who I'm speaking with as well. I'll be poised, I'll be calm, and I'll be listening. I'm looking to see if this man is congruent. I'm looking to see if he's unsure of himself. I'm looking the same way when I'm with a woman. I'm letting her talk. And as she's talking, what I'll often do is, when I'm speaking to her precisely and directly, as a man should. I'm talking to her directly and I'm giving her my eye contact. When she's speaking, I'll look away at some periods and I'll listen. I'm doing this because on the subconscious level, and again, I'm not telling you guys to be manipulative. I'm just telling you how I am, what I do, how I process, how I think, how I listen. As she's speaking to me, oftentimes I'll look away as I'm listening, processing what she's saying, and I won't give her my eye contact. You see, my attention has to be earned. And so as she's speaking to me, I'll be listening, and when I speak to her, I'll make eye contact again and start relaying to her that I understood what she said. And so when you're doing this, you're setting up a psychological frame with a woman, right? Or even if you're dealing with a man, right? You're setting up the psychological frame that you need to be respected, that your attention has to be earned. And not only that, they've given you more than you've given them. So already now, they're at a position to where, whoa, like this feels like a therapy session. I've given this guy so much of me already. I'm already invested. And then that's when you can begin to speak. You can begin to, share certain things about you, right? And as you're sharing certain things about you, oftentimes I like to get a little bit deep. I am a very profound man. I like to give a little bit of information about me. I do like to give some emotional investment on my end. And as you're doing all these things, you're speaking slow. You're setting up a nice, comfortable vibe to share and to engage. You're making the other person, the woman, feel heard, listened to, and you're sharing some things about yourself. Now you can begin the seducing process. Now you can begin the seduction, right? As you're sharing, you're getting invested. Mind you, all of this is probably happening at the dinner table. All of this is probably happening while you're walking around the park. All of this is probably just happening in an encounter where you're just standing, right? You haven't made it to the bedroom yet. You haven't made it to wherever yet. This is all just being a seductive man with your words, with your aura, with your presence, your body language. And so this is a process, all right? This is not something that you rush. It's who you are. It's who you become. You actually have to be this person. And so I'll start to share certain things about myself, right? And, as things progress, as we're getting to know each other, right? When a woman is with me, obviously I'm a protective man. So if we're walking down the street, I'll just have my hand on her lower back. Now, oftentimes when I'm with a woman will tend to feel that she can rest when she's really with a masculine man, right? She'll tend to feel like she can just kind of shut her brain off a little bit and not have to think so much. And so oftentimes what I've experienced when I'm walking with a woman is that sometimes they'll almost walk into the street. They're not paying attention because they're so enveloped in just our conversation. So I'll have my hand on her lower back. I'm guiding her. Sometimes I have to say, hey, so she doesn't walk across the street, right, and get hit. And I'll just gently pull her hip in a little bit and say, hey, wait 1 second, right? And I'm guiding her. Not only am I guiding her psychologically and emotionally, I'm guiding her and protecting her physically. And so when you start to do this, she's in your frame, and this is how you seduce. This is a part of the seduction process. So that being said, light, gentle touches, breaking the contact barrier, right? Getting a little bit more intimate. Touch is very powerful. And so as you're doing all these different things, it's also important for you to look good, right? Smell good. I hope you guys know that by now. I hope you gentlemen know that. I'm always smelling good. I have different colognes I like to wear. Perhaps I'll make another video about that, right? I like to look good. I hold myself with high esteem. And when you couple all these different things together, right? This is also something that happens typically with an encounter that I'm in. Lastly, is that I typically always have something to do. I'm always working on something, you know. I always get texts from my family, they need something, or friends or whatever I've got going on. I always leave the encounter a little bit early. I'll always be the first person to leave. And this isn't even something that I intentionally do, it just always happens. But what I've noticed is that when you do this and you don't let things drag out to the very last drop to where she has to leave, is that the woman becomes more infatuated, more intrigued with you, and she values your time more. She values your time more because she knows that it's not readily available. You're not readily available as a man. You're not easily accessible as a man. And so when you position yourself this way, it creates an environment of seduction. Now, I'm going to reiterate again, this is not a video to manipulate women. This is not a video to manipulate anybody. I'm telling you the way that I simply am. I'm telling you the way that I typically have interactions and encounters with women. This is my truth. It doesn't have to be your truth. So whatever you choose to do with this information, however you choose to interpret it, that's up to you. I'm not putting any label on myself. I'm not saying I'm masculine or whatever the hell all these people are talking about. I'm just me. I live that for the, interpretation and perception of other people. Maybe you think I'm this guy or that guy, whatever. That's cool. At the end of the day, I know who I am. And so this is how I've come to find to be a seductive man, how to have a seductive vibe. Take your time. Be respectful to the person that's across from you. Yes, she's a pretty lady, but she is a human being. Be respectful, guide her, protect her. Actually listen to her when she's speaking and be present. Okay, don't just be, oh my gosh, she's so, Actually listen to her and be able to respond and, say things that she said. That's going to make her feel heard. That's going to make her feel seen. And when you make a woman feel heard and seen, you're doing something correct, gentlemen. You're doing something right. A lot of guys, they're not present when they're on a date with a woman. They're not present. So when you actually let a woman unravel herself for you, and you're not rushing, there's no rush. There's no rush. Let's just take it nice and slow, right? When you're playful, masculinity can also be playful. It doesn't just have to be stern all the time. You gotta know how to play. You gotta know how to speak, how to trigger your woman in certain different ways, right? For example, I wrote this clip right here. This conversation was in Spanish, but same thing.
Mira quién es. Wow. ¿A dónde vas así?
Así a la tienda.
¿Sí? ¿Sí?
Ya.
Ya.
¿Ya?
¿Qué? Ni siquiera sabes qué estoy haciendo. She thinks she's all that.
Now, granted, that exchange was in Spanish, but I'm still playing around with her, right? I said, where you going looking like that? She's like, oh, I'm just going to the store. I took a breath. Really? Yeah? Yeah? That's how you going? You see, women live in their heads. They live in the world of fantasy. They're emotional. They like to play these different games. Think about how when you were a kid, you were a little boy, you were more in your imagination. This is how women are. A lot of us, we've lost the ability to be in our imagination because life and the reality has made us so cold, stone cold, and serious. I understand. I'm a serious man as well. But one thing that I love about women is that they're able to get me in the world of imagination again, right? So I use that. I like to play around. Where do you think you're going like that? And they like that, especially if they feel safe with you. A woman wants to feel safe with you. A woman wants to be able to play different games psychologically. Oh, do you come here often? All that type of stuff. That's what I've come to find that they like, right? So you gotta be able to play, have a good time. Stop being so stern. Oh, left foot, right foot. I gotta do this, I gotta do that. I gotta, walk on the sidewalk, walk her with her on this side. Robot one, like, you guys are too robotic, man. You gotta have a good time. You gotta flow, have fun. I mean, for God's sake, you're with a human being. You're not with a robot. You know what I mean? I think a lot of you gentlemen overcomplicate things. I really think you do. You're with a human being. You're not with a fucking alien from planet whatever. You know what I'm saying? So just keep it light. Keep it casual. Listen. Be present. Pay attention. Protect. Guide. Lead. Lead by example. And the rest should fall into place. This is how you are a seductive man. Gentlemen, that's the video. I'll see y'all in the next one. Salute.